Western game journalists are a joke. Black Myth Wukong is set to release in a couple of days, but review copies have already been handed out to multiple companies, including IGN, Screen Rant, Kotaku, and so on. There are some game journalists who have released reviews for the game that have one of its cons as lacking in inclusivity and diversity. This is from Screen Rant. The pros that they said were combat is fluid and fun, cinematography can be breathtaking at times, great diversity in items and mechanics. The cons: game performance is unpolished. Okay, yeah, that's a con. Gameplay becomes repetitive over time. Okay, that can be another con as well. Lacking in inclusivity and diversity. Keep in mind, Black Myth Wukong, main character, is a fucking fictional monkey. It is set in a mythical world in ancient China. Most of the characters aren't even human. They're some sort of monster or some sort of oni or some sort of creature from ancient Chinese mythology. They're not actually real. But for some reason, all of these various different monsters and whatnot, they don't count as diverse enough. This game journalist has been getting a lot of flack for this, to the point where Screen Rant privated her name for her own safety. I don't understand how inclusivity and diversity are even something to talk about when coming to a game. I genuinely, I don't get it. Just talk about the game. Okay, the actual game, the gameplay. Is there bugs? Is there glitches? Is the game fun? Is the game good? Is it repetitive? And so on. The inclusivity and diversity in a game, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. If you want to make an article talking about that, that's fine. But in your game review, it should just be about the game, not about inclusivity or diversity. Why are you bringing that into a fucking video game? It makes no sense. It's so stupid. I don't get it. It's a fictional character. And let me read a bit more of the review from this same game journalist. While my analysis and review of Black Myth Wukong remain focused on gameplay, it's important to mention the controversies surrounding the game's studio and the reports of misogyny and sexism from developers. Playing as a female gamer allowed me to notice issues surrounding inclusion and representation. Listen, okay? When you're talking about a game, giving a review about the game, just focus on the game. Don't focus on the studio. Don't focus on the inclusion or just focus on the game. The game good? Does it run well? Does it have FPS problems? Is it fun? Is it repetitive? And so on. You don't have to talk about the studio. Even if the studio is a piece of shit, make a separate article about that. Why include that sort of stuff in a game review? It makes no sense. I just don't get why the studio's actions determine whether or not you're going to judge the game accordingly. So if the studio didn't have reports of misogyny and sexism and whatnot, would this person have given it a better review? Probably, which is stupid. Just review the game. Don't bring politics into it. If you want to make a post about that sort of stuff, make a post about it. Why bring that into a review? It makes no fucking sense. She goes on to say, as far as chapters 1 and 2, while characters are clearly fictitious, okay, and fantastical creatures, there you go, there were no female or feminine NPCs, enemies, or bosses present. Now, from what I've seen a few screenshots, there seems to be a couple of females in the game. There's some spider lady and then some other snake lady that I've seen. I haven't played the game. Obviously, I'm not a fucking game journalist, so I don't have access to the game yet. But yeah, I just don't understand. Like, just play the game. If it's good, it's good. If it's bad, it's bad. Yeah, it's that simple. The only exception, if you can call it female, is a boss named Mother of Stones in Chapter 2, which is nothing more than a still glowing rock with no abilities being guarded by other enemies. Like, it's such a ridiculous fucking review. It really makes no sense. She also went on to say, the lack of diversity and inclusivity resonates with the misogynistic comments reported to have been made by developers which express disdain for women playing their games. Although Black Myth Wukong does have truly enjoyable moments, the underlying feeling that women aren't welcome in this world felt present throughout my gameplay experience. Now, I want to preface this that these reports about misogyny and sexism and whatnot, they come from IGN. IGN are not exactly the most trustworthy source, so it seems kind of ridiculous to just listen to them, but whatever, sure. It's worth noting that the game is based on the novel Journey to the West, which does consist of a few important female characters, to not include any women, or to only include a few in an adaptation meant for a modern audience. Disconcerting? I don't even know what that word means. A modern audience. I hate that word, modern audience. It's so shit. Just make your game how you want to make it. Don't make it for modern audiences. It's so fucking dumb. While this doesn't take away from the exhilaration and fun of boss fights themselves, women fans of Souls-like games may have a different perspective, especially given that, according to reports, the developers also suggested that women aren't capable of enjoying or being skilled at these types of games. Again, I'm not sure if that is true or not. I haven't seen anything about that. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. I don't know. The whole thing is just ridiculous. I genuinely hate game journalists so much. Just review the game, review the movie, whatever you're reviewing. You don't have to give your whole life story. You don't have to bring politics into it or the past of the studio. Just talk about the game or the movie. Just focus on the game, okay? Just focus on the game. You don't have to bring up anything else. Just focus on the game. It's that simple. I don't know why this is so difficult for so many game journalists to do. A lot of Western game journalists are like this. In fact, most of them are like this, so I don't know why it's exactly surprising. And there was obviously other studios that repeated the same thing as well, which is just like, what's the point? Maybe they're doing this to rage bait. Maybe that's the point, to annoy people. I've seen this all over Twitter for the past day or so. So I just thought I would cover it because, I thought it was a bit frustrating. I'm not a big fan of game journalists either. So just wanted to cover it. So yeah.